Today we're going to talk about chicken coops because I want people who are getting started with chickens to start off on the right foot so you'll be successful. So I'm going to talk about why I really don't like the big box store, cheap, throw it together, flat pack chicken coops, because in my opinion, they are completely unsuitable for chickens. So we're going to talk all about why I really don't like those coops. First, let's talk about what chickens need from a good coop. Well, what they need is a place that they can be secure and safe from predators, that has enough room for them, that is well ventilated, so that means lots of airflow for them coming in the right places so they're not sitting in a draft while they're trying to sleep at night. And the space in the coop is actually really important because chickens do half their pooping for the day at nighttime. So if they're in a very small space, it's going to build up pretty quickly and get quite nasty. So having a nice, large, well-ventilated coop is really important for your chicken's health. There are all sorts of different coop designs that work perfectly well for chickens. You don't have to just have a one type of thing. Chickens are pretty adaptable creatures. They can be happy in lots of different size coops and shapes and all the rest of it, but make sure you've got your ventilation and enough space for how many chickens that you need to put in there. And perches or roosting bars are really important in terms of what they're made out of. So we're going to talk about the terrible perches that come with those flat pack coops in a minute, but your perch needs to be big enough. So this is just a bit of wood. It's not ready for a perch yet because it still has hard edges, so I wouldn't put this straight in. But this is like the minimum size that I would use as a chicken perch, and my chickens really like this size, so they can get their feet on it and they can be comfortably resting there so they can settle down at nighttime and have a nice base for their feet to go on, and their toes aren't getting all squished around a little tiny perch. They're nice and secure because chickens sort of lock their feet onto the perch and just sort of huddle there. They're not gripping tightly, but if the perch is too small or the wrong shape, then they have to grip on consciously to be safe and stable on their perch. So we want to make sure they're happy on their sleeping perches. Let's talk about why I really don't like those big box store flat pack coops. Well, the main reason I have a problem with them is that they are too small. Most of the ones that I have seen would only be suitable for one chicken to comfortably sleep in there. Maybe two if they're not too big and they get along really well. So that's a problem because these coops are sold as being suitable for like up to 5 chickens when they're absolutely not. One chicken's not even going to have a very good life inside there. And it's not the fault of the consumers that are buying these because they're being advertised in a misleading fashion. So don't think that I'm blaming the people. I am blaming the companies for selling a product that is just not fit for purpose. Some of these coops are just a coop, so they're just the place where your chicken is going to sleep at night, and some of them are coops with runs attached, sort of as one unit. Now, sometimes the ones that are just a coop could be okay. If you only have maybe 3 chickens, you might get away with it. But the ones with a run attached, the run is never big enough or secure enough for your chickens to be in. Chickens need a lot more space than those little runs have. And sometimes when you're buying it online, the coop looks a lot bigger than it actually is going to be when you put it together. The sorts of materials that those coops are made out of are pretty bad quality. Most of them are some kind of wood, and some of them are plastic or a composite of wood and plastic together. And they're going to last for a short period of time, and then they're going to degrade. And they could degrade in a way that becomes either insecure for your chickens, so predators might be able to get in, or unsafe for your chickens. They might splinter and become a problem for your chickens walking or brushing up against the sides and things like that. And certainly in New Zealand, where our sunlight is extremely intense, they just cannot hold up to being outside. So they're just all around not a good purchase. particularly for the coops that are made out of sort of thin, cheap, bad quality wood, they can have a major parasite issue. So red poultry mites love to live in the little cracks and crevices of a chicken coop, and the soft wood that's all been put together with not particularly great screws and not very flush joins just makes a perfect environment for red poultry mites to set up and come out to feast on your chickens while they're trying to sleep at night. So I really don't like them from the perspective of trying to keep your coop as mite-free as possible. The ones that are made out of plastic are a bit better on that front, but you gotta make sure that the plastic is actually a high quality plastic. It all comes back down to them being too small, though. I know I've already said that, but that is my major issue with them. The quality is an issue and the parasite management is an issue, but those things, if you're willing to accept that and know you have to replace your coop quite frequently, you could live with that. But the size of them is the main issue. Now, where they are great and a good choice to have as part of your chicken management system is if you need to isolate a sick chicken or if you want to set up a nice space for a broody hen, provided you can make sure they are secure enough, which means you might need to do a few things like getting better wire on them or replacing latches, but these things aren't too tricky to do. And I have used coops like this as broody hen pens for hens to raise chicks in or to break a broody hen in the past, and from that perspective, when you're just going to put one chicken in them for a short period of time, they can be really helpful and an inexpensive way to achieve that for your flock management system. But generally speaking, they are far too small for even one hen to live a happy life in them, particularly the ones with the runs attached. I would say just do not buy them. So if you're going to listen to that advice, what kind of coop can you get? If you have some DIY skills or know someone who's happy to help you out, I would highly recommend building your own chicken coop. There are lots of plans available on the internet, and you can use materials that you have available already on your property or that you find, recycle, or that you buy from the hardware store. Chickens are not fussy about how their coop looks, so long as it functions well for them. So if you can build it, definitely try building one, and I would encourage you to build it as big as you can, because the bigger the better for your chickens, the more space the better, and it does give you the opportunity to expand your flock numbers over time, because that does tend to happen. If building a coop from scratch is not on the cards for you, then you can get better quality kit set coops. I got a kit set coop and I'm not sure if I would do it again. It was supposed to take about 1 day to put together. It took me 3 days to put together, but I did get it put together and I have basically no building skills at all. So buying a good quality kit set is a good option if you don't have the skills to plan a project or follow instructions from scratch, which I definitely don't have those skills. It's going to cost more than the cheap coop from the big box store. That is just something you need to put into your budget, but you're going to have a product that is going to last the distance for you and be safe and avoid lots of problems for your chicken flock. Now, if you don't have 3 days available for something that is only supposed to take 1 day to build, you can do something with a plastic IBC tote. Now, these are the square cube water containers, or I don't know, they often have fertilizer or something like that in them. And they are quite easy to get hold of. You just jump on Facebook or Craigslist or something like that, and you'll probably be able to find one. And they're about the right size for maybe 4 chickens to live in quite happily. And because they're plastic and they have a cage around them, Like, even I with no building skills at all could manage to make a coop out of one of those just by cutting a door in them, putting some perches in. They're plastic, so they're not going to have parasite issues. Very easy to clean, so long as you get enough ventilation into them and put them somewhere shady so they're not going to overheat. They're a great option. I've seen some really fantastic chicken coops made out of those. Even the cage that's around the tote taken out and turned into a run attached to them. So that's a really good option. There are plans for how to do that on the internet. I will link to some below. And you can also just find a YouTube video that will show you how to go ahead and do that. And that is like the cheapest and easiest solution to making a coop that's actually going to work for you. So check that out if it's an option for you. I would highly recommend you do that. Do not go and buy one of those big box store chicken coops. You're only going to regret it. I don't want you to think that getting chickens is hard or complicated. It's not. Chickens are really easy to look after. It's just important to get things right so you avoid problems. So don't take away from this video that like finding a coop is a really hard thing to do. You can absolutely do it. I want everyone to have chickens if they want chickens. They're fantastic pets, but I really don't want to see you guys get taken advantage of and waste your money and get set up for failure and not success by being marketed to by companies that do not have your best interests at heart. So do your research, make sure you know what you're doing, set yourselves up for success, and you will really enjoy your chicken keeping journey.